Okay, so I am finally going to work on labeling all of Adrian's school supplies. He was supposed to start Yochien at the beginning of April, but because of the coronavirus, schools were canceled. But I do need to start labeling all of his school supplies and his uniforms. That way, when he is able to start Yochien, everything is ready to go. So I have 2 bags right here that are full of all of his school supplies and his uniforms. So I'm gonna lay everything down so that I can kind of see what I need to label. Okay, so I have all of Adrian's school supplies and uniforms laid out. So uniforms, backpack, his piano, his indoor shoes. And these are like bags and rags to clean their hands, tissues. These are all like building blocks that they use. His water bottle, his utensils, and then all like class supplies. So here's where I'm at. I've labeled everything in this area with the exception of that stuff, and clothing, backpack, bags. And then I've also not done these toys, these little blocks yet. This one, I'm not sure if I need to do every single block or not, so I'm gonna have to figure that out. So all of that is labeled. Okay, so here's what I'm gonna do. Baby's on the back because he's refusing to take his nap. We'll make it work. So I'm gonna measure the size that I need for like his uniforms. So I'm just going to put his first and last name there. All of his school uniforms have a specific place to put his name. So I have 2 pairs of shorts that I need to do. I have 2 shirts that are short sleeve, and then I have 1 long sleeve shirt. I also have his hat. Then I also have his smocks, I think is what they call them, but I need to figure out how I'm gonna do it here. And then he also has a hat, and the hat has 2 portions because this back part comes off. And then this is his fancy coat, and so I would put his name here, but I believe it also has space on the inside, so I gotta figure that out. And then I also need to put his name on his bags. And then this is called a bandana, and so here in Japan they wrap their, I want to say it's their silverware here. And then they also have these to dry their hands, and I think that's it. So I'm gonna work on my Cricut, figure out measurements, and go from there. Okay, so I'm back. I wanted to give you guys a little update on where I'm at. So the baby is clearly awake. He's done. So my time is up. So I'm gonna have to come back to this tomorrow. Oh no.
The next day.
Okay, so I am setting up the area for day 2 of finishing all of Adrian's Yochien supplies. So I've separated the things that still need to get labeled and the things that are already labeled, and then I'll probably go through everything one last time to make sure everything looks good. many days later, and I am finally, hopefully, cross your fingers, going to finish labeling all of Adrian's school supplies. Okay, so here are some of Adrian's school uniforms and supplies. So I'm going to do it in 2 different sections, and I'm just going to show you how I labeled everything so that you guys kind of have an idea of the school supplies that are needed in a Yochien and how things are supposed to be labeled. So for example, this is one of the hats that they wear with their uniform. So that part does come off, and I was able to label both sections. He does also have 2 sets of shorts that he wears. So these are labeled on the inside, and this is what they look like. Just regular little shorts. So then it's just labeled on the tag. And then he does have 3 shirts, 2 short sleeve and 1 long sleeve for when it does get cold. And again, these are labeled on the inside. So he does also have a different hat. I would say this is the fancier one. He wears this with a coat, and then the label is also on the inside. This is the coat that goes with that hat. So I put his first name on the front, and then I added his full name on the inside. He does also have 2 sets of smocks, is what they're called. So I was able to put his name on the front of both. So I'll just show you one. That is what it looks like. Isn't that just the cutest thing? Their school supplies also came with this little bag. So I wrote his name on the inside. And then he's also required to have 2 bags. One for his inside shoes, put his name on the inside. His theme, as you can tell, is cars. These are his indoor shoes, and again, they're cars. I just wrote his name on the bottom of these. This is his bandana, is what it's called, and it's used for their silverware. I was able to iron on his name on the inside. Then this is the second bag that he is required to have, so he needs to have an extra set of clothes at school just in case. This is another bag that came with his school supplies. Okay, so he does also need like a little hand towel to wipe his hands when he washes them, and with this one I just wrote his name with marker. He does also have this beach towel, so I decided to just get him this one. And I did label his name on the inside. So they not only teach him Japanese, but they also teach him how to play an instrument. So he gets his own little piano, and it is a piano that you blow into. So it comes with this set, which attaches to the piano itself. So we think that is very, very neat. And then the back is also labeled. The very last thing is his backpack. So everyone gets the same backpack. It's very, very different than what you see in the US, I guess. His name is labeled on the bottom. Okay, so this is the second half of his school supplies. Okay, so we'll start with this little box. These are his crayons. I did label the front of the box. I did not label the crayons because they are wax and there is no paper on them, so I wasn't sure if I needed to. Then we also have this box, and these are his markers. I do remember specifically his teacher telling us that everything needed to be labeled, so the front of his box and the bottom of the marker as well as the cap. So then we also have these. We did have to label the front of the box as well as each of these pastels. This one does come with a band that goes around it, which is nice. And I did also label the back of his box. So these are his clay working tools, and I did label the piece of paper that is on the inside of the bag as well as each of the tools, and there is 3 of them. He does also get a set of scissors. This is interesting because this is glue. I don't know, it's different. So I did label the top with his first name and then the bottom with first and last, but that is what that looks like. So then he also has his water cup, and then this is his silverware set. So it is labeled on the side, and then the back of each utensil is also labeled with his name as well as the back. He also gets a jump rope. So I labeled the bag, and then I also labeled the jump rope itself. This little box contains clay. So the bag is on the inside. I labeled the box on the top and then the bottom. This container here, I believe, is where they probably keep their school supplies in the classroom. I'm not sure. So I did label his name there. He does also have a tag, his toothbrush, and then this is what the pencil looks like. So I labeled the bottom of it and then the cap. He does also have many packs of tissues. So he does also get a set of Arctic blocks. I did not label each individual piece. I just labeled the outside of the bag. So then he also gets this set of blocks. I did label the container itself as well as has the lid. And then I also labeled each individual piece. With his water bottle, I went back and forth with how to label it, and I finally decided to just write his name on the bottom. So he does also get this little journal here, so just to kind of give you guys an idea of what their notebook looks like, and it is also small. And then this here is like a planner, so it is all in Japanese. He also has this bigger notebook, and it just has blank white pages on the inside. Then he has this ginormous book. It is in Japanese. And then the very last thing is his clay board. What is your favorite school supply for when you start Yochien?
The piano.
Are you excited to learn how to play it?
Yeah.
What's going to be your favorite part about going to school?
I think playing with the block.
Are you excited to start?
Yeah.
Mommy and Daddy are very, very proud of you, and we can't wait for you to start school. We love you.
Love you too.